Okay, I want to start with a very specific, a very modern ghost story. It's a moment we have all lived through recently.
Mm.
You are staring at a screen. Maybe it's a high-stakes email to a difficult client, or a complex strategic question you need to answer for your boss. You're stuck.
The blinking cursor.
The cursor is just blinking at you like a heartbeat. Your brain is total fog.
Oh, the dreaded blinking cursor. It's the modern equivalent of the empty canvas, isn't it?
It is. So you do what we all do now. You open a chat window, you type in the messy, half-formed thought. You hit enter. And then, in, less than 3 seconds,
If that.
the text just streams out.
Yeah.
And it is clear, it is articulate, it is confident. You read it, you nod, and you get this massive wave of relief. You think, yes, this is exactly what I meant.
It feels like a magic trick. It completely bypasses all the struggle.
But here's the question that stopped me in my tracks while I was reading our research packet for today. When you nod along to that AI-generated answer,
Yeah.
who actually understands the topic?
Right.
Is it you, or are you just borrowing the clarity of the system?
And that is the uncomfortable question we are tackling today. We're doing a deep dive into the difference between, let's call it borrowed confidence and true competence.
Okay.
And look, the mission here isn't to be anti-tech. We aren't saying, don't use AI. This is not a moral lecture.
We aren't smashing the looms today.
No Luddites here. But we are looking at a fascinating stack of sources ranging from modern cognitive psychology all the way to 19th century existential philosophy to figure out why AI makes us feel smarter than we actually are. And the very real cost that comes with that feeling.
I have to admit, I was surprised to see names like Nietzsche and Sartre in a packet about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I usually associate them with, dusty books and turtleneck sweaters, not large language models.
Well, it turns out they basically predicted this whole problem of outsourcing our thinking long before the microchip even existed. Yeah, they were obsessed with what it means to be an authentic human individual. And right now, that authenticity is being challenged by the most convenient tool we've ever invented.
So let's start with the psychology. Why does reading that smooth, bullet-pointed answer from an AI make me feel like I'm the expert? Because it really does feel like my knowledge in that moment. I read it and think, I knew that.
It's a phenomenon psychologists call the fluency illusion, and AI is a master at triggering it.
The fluency illusion, okay.
See, the human brain hates ambiguity. We hate that messy middle of not knowing. I mean, from an evolutionary standpoint, ambiguity is dangerous. It means you don't know what's in the bushes.
So we crave certainty.
We crave structure. When you ask a prompt, the AI's primary function isn't just to give you facts, it's to reduce ambiguity. It structures the chaos. It adds the first, furthermore, and consequently.
It builds a paved road right through the jungle.
Exactly. Now, here's the trap. When you walk down a paved road, it's easy walking. You look around and say, I understand this landscape, but understanding the path is a very, very different thing from having the ability to build the path.
I see. So I'm mistaking recognizing the logic for possessing the logic.
That's the distinction. You're confusing exposure to an argument with the capacity to construct it yourself.
Wow.
When the AI hands you the answer, you are essentially just standing next to the smartest guy in the room. You feel smart by proximity. But, and this is where we bring in Friedrich Nietzsche, that proximity is dangerous.
Nietzsche, the man who philosophized with a hammer. What would he have to say about ChatGPT?
Well, he wrote a lot about the difference between repeating an idea and actually possessing an idea. For Nietzsche, to possess an idea, you have to have wrestled with it.
Right.
You need to know its edges, where it breaks, where it bleeds into other ideas.
You have to have the scars from the fight.
In a sense, yes. When you read the AI summary, you can repeat it. You might even be able to debate it in a meeting. And that gives you a rush of dopamine. That's the borrowed confidence.
Okay.
But the source material asks a very sharp "so what" question here.
Which is?
What happens when the tool's removed?
That's the nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
Internet goes down, or you're in a boardroom and your laptop dies.
If your confidence is borrowed, it evaporates the second that connection is lost. Because that confidence wasn't based on the integration of knowledge into your own brain, it was just based on access. You were renting the competence.
Renting competence. That's a frightening image for anyone in a knowledge job. But I want to push back a little here.
Go for it.
In the modern world, isn't knowing how to get the answer just as valuable as having the answer? If I can rent the competence for $20 a month, does it really matter if I don't own it? I mean, I don't need to know how to build a car to drive to work.
That is the utilitarian argument. As long as the output is good, who cares about the process? And for low-level tasks, checking code syntax, drafting a generic email, finding a recipe, you're right, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But our sources argue there is a massive existential cost when we apply this to high-level thinking, to the core of our work. And it comes down to two big concepts: anxiety and freedom.
Okay, we're getting deep now. Connect the dots for me. How does using AI to write a strategy doc relate to existential anxiety?
Okay, let's look at the old way of working. You sit down, you have a blank page, you feel what?
Panic, dread, a very strong desire to go clean the kitchen instead of working.
Right, you feel confused, you write a terrible first draft, you delete it, you try again. That whole struggle is painful. But Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, he framed this beautifully. He said, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom.
Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. That's a beautiful phrase.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean in this context?
It means that when you are truly thinking for yourself, you feel anxiety because you are free. You have infinite choices. You could be wrong. You could sound stupid. That dizziness is the weight of your own potential. It's the sensation of your brain actually building new capacity.
So the anxiety isn't a sign that I'm failing. It's a sign that I'm actually doing the work.
Precisely. It's the growing pain of your intellect. Now, what does the AI do?
It kills the anxiety instantly.
It stabilizes the world. It collapses all those infinite choices down to one optimal answer. But Kierkegaard and our sources would argue that by removing the anxiety, you are also removing the freedom.
Yeah.
You're bypassing the very friction that builds your internal strength.
You're trading freedom for safety.
It's a heavy trade. You're essentially outsourcing your intellectual struggle.
And the more we outsource that struggle, the more we hollow out our own identity.
Exactly. Jean-Paul Sartre fits in here too. He famously said, humans are condemned to be free.
Condemned. He didn't think it was a party.
No, it's a burden. We are forced to define ourselves by our choices. But if we have a system that constantly nudges us toward the average best answer or the standard structure, are we still really making choices?
We're just becoming editors of an algorithm rather than authors of our own lives.
And Martin Heidegger, he takes it even further. He argued that technology isn't just a tool we use, like a hammer. He said technology is a way of revealing.
A way of revealing.
It changes how the world shows up to us. If AI is the mediator for all your thoughts, you start to see the world only as things that can be processed by AI. You stop seeing the nuance that the machine misses.
You become a product of the tool.
You become formatted. Your thoughts actually start to look like bullet points because that's what the machine keeps feeding you. You start thinking in prompts rather than in ideas.
That is genuinely unsettling. But I want to ground this again. We aren't just brains in jars thinking about French philosophy. We are people with jobs, mortgages, deadlines. How does this hollowing out actually show up in the office on a Tuesday?
It shows up as the hollow professional. The sources provide some really biting examples of this.
Okay, give me one.
Take the perfect student, or maybe the junior associate. They use AI to write a report. The grammar is flawless. The logic is totally sound. It cites 3 different market trends. They hand it in, and they look like an absolute rock star.
On paper, they're operating at a senior level.
But then the live fire moment happens. The boss asks them to put the report down and just explain their reasoning on point 3. Or a client asks a messy, off-script question that the AI didn't predict.
And they freeze.
They crumble. Because the structure of that argument wasn't built inside their mind, it was built on the screen. The source calls this a shell of competence.
A shell of competence.
Yeah, it looks solid from the outside, it's shiny, it's polished, but there's no core.
I've actually seen this happen. It's like watching a balloon pop. The confidence just drains out of the room because the person can't navigate the context of the information. They only have the text.
That's the perfect way to put it. They have the text, but not the context. True competence. True confidence isn't about knowing the answer instantly. It's about the belief that, okay, I don't know yet, but I have the internal tools to figure it out.
And you only get those internal tools by doing the hard work yourself.
Yeah.
By, walking through the jungle, not just taking the paved road.
Exactly. And the scary thing is, the more you use that paved road, the more the jungle grows over your old paths. If you stop struggling with ideas, you eventually lose the ability to struggle. It's like a muscle that atrophies.
Okay, I'm listening to this, and I'm doing a mental audit of my last week. I'm thinking, Am I a hollow professional? Have I been faking it? The source material actually offered a diagnostic section, right? A way to self-check.
It did, and it's a bit confronting. There are 3 main symptoms to look out for to see if you've crossed the line from just using a tool to actual dependency.
Okay, lay them on me. I'm ready to be judged. What's symptom number 1?
Symptom number 1 is the fear of the blank page.
I think everyone has that, though. That's just being human, isn't it?
This is more specific. Do you find yourself unable to even start thinking until you have an AI-generated structure? Not just, I need some inspiration, but I literally cannot organize my thoughts until the machine gives me an outline.
So it's the paralysis of structure. You need the exoskeleton just to stand up.
Right. It indicates a fear of being alone with your own disorganized thoughts. Symptom number 2 is validation seeking. This one is subtle. You have an idea, maybe a really good one, but you feel this compulsion to feed it into the AI to see if it agrees with you before you'll share it with your team.
That one hits close to home.
Yeah.
It's like we don't trust our own gut anymore.
Nietzsche talked about the herd mentality, joining the group to avoid the loneliness of independent thought. The source argues AI is the new herd. It's a herd of billions of data points. If you need the machine to nod at you before you feel secure, your internal compass is demagnetized.
Demagnetized compass. I like that. It's like you need the algorithm's permission to have an opinion.
Yeah.
What's the third sign?
The third sign is panic under pressure. This is the most obvious one. If the Wi-Fi cuts out, or you're at a dinner party and a complex topic comes up, is your immediate reaction curiosity? Or is it a low-level panic because you can't look it up?
It's that feeling of being naked without the device.
True confidence says, I'm not sure, let me think about that. Borrowed confidence relies on that instantaneous feed. Without the feed, the silence is terrifying.
Okay, I definitely have a mild case of symptom number 2. So what's the prescription? We diagnose the illness. How do we treat it without throwing our laptops in the river and moving to a cabin in the woods?
The goal is to move from outsourcing our thinking to partnering in our thinking. We need to reclaim the struggle part of the process. The sources propose 3 strategies for what they call intellectual independence.
Right, give us the playbook. Strategy number 1.
Strategy number 1 is the rough draft rule. This is non-negotiable. Always, always write your own messy, confused, terrible thoughts before you open the chat window.
So force the brain to do the first rep.
Exactly, even if it's just bullet points, even if it's wrong. By doing this, you are establishing the neural pathways first. You are telling your brain, I am the creator, the AI is the assistant. If you start with the AI, the roles are reversed.
I like that. Be the architect, not the janitor, cleaning up the AI's mess. Okay, strategy number 2.
Strategy number 2 flips the dynamic. AI as critic, not creator. Instead of asking the AI to write this argument for me, you write it yourself, and then you ask, here is my argument. Tear it apart. What are the weaknesses? Where is my logic flawed?
Oh, that's good. So you use it to stress test your own true competence.
Yes. This uses the AI to sharpen your internal logic rather than replacing it. It's like sparring with a partner who knows everything. You still have to throw the punches, but it shows you where your guard is down.
That feels much more empowering. It puts me back in the driver's seat. And the third strategy.
This one is inspired by Albert Camus. Strategy number 3 is deliberate unplugged practice.
It sounds painful.
It is. Camus spoke about facing the absurd, the silence of the universe. We need to deliberately put ourselves in situations where we function without the safety net.
Like what? Writing a letter by hand.
Exactly. Or commit to writing 1 meaningful email a day completely from scratch. Solve a coding problem without Copilot once a week. Sit and outline a project with just a pen and paper for 20 minutes.
It's like resistance training for the brain.
You have to prove to yourself repeatedly that you can do it. The internal metric of confidence shouldn't be, did I get the right answer? It should be, could I have faced this unknown without the crutch? Knowing you can is what gives you the freedom to use the tool without being enslaved by it.
It's interesting. We started this whole deep dive talking about how AI makes things easier.
Yeah.
But the conclusion seems to be that we need to intentionally make things harder for ourselves.
If we want to stay human, yes. The danger isn't that AI is going to rise up and destroy us like in the Terminator movies. The danger is much, much quieter. It's that we voluntarily surrender the hard part of thinking, the uncertainty, the struggle, the anxiety.
We surrender the friction.
But that friction is exactly what creates heat. It's what creates light. It's what makes us competent. If you remove the friction, you just slide right over the surface of knowledge without ever really falling in.
It brings us right back to that Sartre idea. We are condemned to be free. We can't escape the responsibility of building our own minds.
Technology can support us, it can amplify us, but it cannot live for us, and it cannot think for us. If you let it think for you, you are slowly eroding your own self. You become a hollow shell that just echoes whatever the machine says.
So here is the final provocation for you listening right now. It's the question the source material leaves us with, and it's one I want you to really sit with, maybe while you're staring at that blinking cursor later today.
If the internet went down tomorrow permanently and you lost the tool, would you still trust your own ability to think?
Don't just answer yes automatically. Really check in with that feeling. And hey, try the rough draft rule today, just once. See how it feels to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
It might just be the most human thing you do all day. Thanks for diving in with us.